the computer. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Texas Guitar Society. We're so happy to be here with you, just playing some guitar, just having some fun in this Monday night as we normally do. We have some very exciting news for all of you, and I don't even know where to start. As you know, we have an online store now, and we are official Agustin Strings providers. They saw our post on Instagram and they were like, "We want you guys to sell our products." So they send us a bunch of strings. We have the red ones, the blue ones, some paragons. They're so good. We have them on the website if you guys want to try them. We are so excited because this makes us an official provider for these strings. Once that we start having or in live concerts, we're gonna have a shop for you to get your goodies and everything. So thank you, Agustin, for believing in us. As well, we have our first official member of the Texas Guitar Society that gave us a pledge. We want to give a shout out to Eddie Healy for really supporting us. He became a member, and we are gonna give him free shipping in any products that he wants here at the Texas Guitar Society. We're gonna give him a mask with the logo, and we're gonna send him a set of strings. Thank you so much for believing in us. It means the world that we have some support. In other news, we also sold our first concert to the city of Keller. So on April 17 at 12 minute at noon, we're going to be performing a live concert, and it's not going to be in our channel. It's going to be in the Keller Public Arts. Zach Demery, our media director, Ivan Aguayo, our public relations director, and me, the president, are going to be playing a fun concert for all of you. It's going to be live stream. It's going to be free. You're going to be able to get the link, as always, on our website. We're going to be updating everything today. We got invited by the Consulate of Mexico to make a documentary about our movement and how we're creating all these artistic activities. The documentary is going to be 25 minutes long, and it's going to be probably out in June or by the end of May. So we're very excited about that. Thank you so much for the support from the Mexican Consulate. Anything else that I'm missing, Ivan? Not really, right?
We're working on an education program as well.
Oh yeah, well, we are going to start an educational program here at the Texas Guitar Society. As you know, we are looking for writers for our blog that we're gonna be happening every some articles every month. All of that is paid. So if you're a good writer and you say, you know what, I really enjoy writing, and I would love to post my work, please join the team. That will be very fun. We have created a visual concert that we have sold now to some high schools, and we are soon to publish some of those videos and music all for the year. All right, but that was just some of the quick news. We don't want to take all of your time, just I mean, yada 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 yada. We're gonna have some guitar playing. The program for today, here it is. We're gonna have the workshop started by Mr. Ivan. He's going to be doing some mental practice using jazz and a system called Face GPT. That's what we call it, Face GPT. It's very fun. Then we're gonna have a musical development with improvisation. So we're gonna be talking about improvisation. If you like improvising, stay tuning today. And we're gonna have some technical development on the left hand. He's gonna be saying all about that. Then I am going to be taking over on the second half of this hour, and we're gonna talk about skills, practice, improvisation, and we're gonna talk about how to set up this a scale based on the sixth string, and how I use some backing tracks to practice my scales, not so much using the metronome, just to make it more fun. So without further ado, let's please give a big welcome to Mr. Ivan Aguayo. I'm going to be managing the computer, so if everything is slow, it's all me. You can blame it on me. There's nobody else up there. I really hope that you guys have some fun. The idea today is that you can unmute. If you have a question, just let it out. If you have a comment, just write it down. If you don't understand something, we want to have some fun with you. And please bring out your guitar, have it on your arms, so you can be playing some of the exercises that we're going to be presenting to you. We're streaming right here from my living room, and thank you so much for joining us today. Please give a big welcome to Mr. Ivan Aguayo.
Okay. How's everybody doing today? All right, so I wanted to start off talking about what Abraham and I mentioned as mental practice. So this is something that we want to use in a lot of opportunities when it comes to gigging or when it comes to playing with others. You want to kind of be aware of what's going on in terms of the music, and you want to be kind of quick paced and rapid. So you're not just limited to repertoire that is memorized, but rather you can take your own artistic freedom and play along with that using backing tracks or other music. So the system that I use was something that I learned from an old jazz teacher. He said face GBD. That is FACE, as in face, and GBD. I'm sure when you first started learning music, you learned on the musical staff, you have every good boy does fine, and then face in the space, right? Every good boy does fine on the lines, and face in the space. So this system right here is a really, really rapid arpeggio, I guess like cheat sheet in a sense. So we have, if you have a chord, let's say for instance, I have an F chord and I want to find out the triad, I'm going to use, let's start my letter F here. And then this is a list that goes up by tertions or by thirds, spelling out triads or up to 13 chords. So we have the F, if I'm thinking of an F chord, I have the 1 here, the 3 here, and the 5 here. FAC, and that gives me that triad. And I can play those anywhere on the guitar. Right? I can continue this process and go up to the 7th if I wanted to. So I have F, A, C, and then E for a 7th chord, which is typically you see in jazz chords. Now, this chord system here is sequential. So if you start, let's say we start on the D, for example, when I find out the chord for a D, I do D and then go around to F and then go to A. So I have the D triad, D, F, A, right? And this is based off of the key of C. So you're gonna have to modify each chord based on the key that's presented for that chord. So for example, if I want to think of D major, I want to make that F an F sharp. But the process still applies. So I can go up to the 7th here. So if I want to do an F, or sorry, a D major 7, I do D, F sharp, A, and then C sharp, right? In any octave. And you can continue this process forever. So I can keep going if I don't want to do the seventh. Let's say if I want to find the 11th or the ninth or the 13th, right? You'll see a lot of jazz symbols saying 9, 11, and 13. And what do those mean exactly? So using the same system, let's start now in C, because C is pretty easy, sharps, no flats, right? So you start with C, and you go up in thirds. This goes up by odd numbers. So C would be 1, E would be 3, G would be 5, B would be 7, D would be 9, and then you go to the beginning of the sequence, F 11, A 13. Pretty easy system when you kind of like break it down and think about it this way. So we're going to apply this to a backing track using "Fly Me to the Moon," a very popular jazz standard, and applying the same concept. So I'll wait for Abraham to share you guys the backing track here that shows all the chords.
I think we can see it now.
Okay.
Oh, I have to share it.
We're good? Okay. So let's say we go ahead and play this video. I'm going to pause for a second and sort of demonstrate how you can use this system. So we have the face GBD, right? Our first chord is going to be an A minor 7. A minor, if you look at this whole progression here, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7 to C major 7, is what's called a 6, 2, 5, 1 progression going in C major. So all of these chords here are based off of the C major chord. So we're going to do, as an example here in the first position. So now I'm going to use the system and apply it. Face GBD. So for A minor 7, our A is now our 1, C is going to be our 3, E is going to be our 5, and G is going to be our 7. So we'll use the chord tones A, C, E, G, and then repeating. As an example. And you can find a lot of different areas in your guitar that has these notes right here. The goal here is not necessarily to play the chord tones exactly for each chord. It's more so a matter of trying to land on one of them as you're passing through the chord while you're playing scales. And you have a short time to think about this, so a faster system is one of the best ways to go about this. So I'm going to do a quick little playthrough of A minor 7, and then D minor 7, G7, and then C major 7. Right, as an example. And you can do this all throughout the jazz tune. So if Abraham, if you could play the tune for me. You're going to be thinking these things in your head and using it is why it's called mental practice, is you want to
You can hear? Yeah. I will have to sort.
So here's A minor 7. As the chord changes are happening, I'm using the scale, that's presented for me in the progression here, and I don't have a lot of time to talk about exactly how you navigate these key signatures throughout the music. But if you look at the if you know the major scale or triad, like say for instance we're looking at B minor 7 flat 5 as an example. So the way you would take this is you would start with your B major, you would lower your third, you would lower your fifth, and you lowered your seventh, and that'd be a quick way of getting these here. So that's what I mean by you have to apply those individually when you do face GBD. So I think that's all the time I have for that first section. I might have gone over a little bit, but this is going to be super beneficial to you when you're using in gigs. Like let's say you run out of repertoire and you have a jazz track, or you can pull up a couple of jazz tracks. It doesn't even have to be jazz. It can be flamenco sort of improvisation. There's one backing track called Mediterranean Sundance. I think it starts in kind of a similar progression. It'll be in G major there, but you can still apply the same concept as you're playing through these chords here. Okay, so kind of following along the pace of improvising or running, if you run out of repertoire in your gig. Honestly, I'm a big supporter of the improvisatory field. So anything that's fresh and new and doesn't happen anywhere else is one of the greatest things that you can share with people, because that's your own personality that you're exhibiting. Not that you don't exhibit it when you play those individual pieces written by other composers, but sometimes if you run out of rep, you're like, well, what do I do? I just kind of sit here and recycle the repertoire. The next topic is going to be motivic development when it comes to improvisation. So any type of composition, no matter if it's contemporaneous or classical, Baroque, Renaissance, they all have their sense of counterpoint, and most importantly, their sense of voice leading. So if you take any note, right, and you go ahead and play it, you want to find out which way that voice leads. And what that means is that you want to find its closest neighbor. Usually they're by a whole step, a half step, or a minor third. Right, that'd be the closest voice leading principle. That's the best way that I can go about this without kind of going super deep into music theory. It'll take forever for me to cover all of it. But voice leading is the most important principle. Secondly, you want to take an idea. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It could be something simple as a 2-note riff. Right. Earlier today, I was kind of jamming out on just a 2-note riff, and then just letting my fingers sort of take me away into a place. So if you pick any 2 notes on the guitar, it doesn't have to be right next to each other. Let's say if I did something like maybe this. just that little simple ideas. But the point being is I took that idea here and just kind of let my fingers and my ear and the voice leading kind of take me away into whatever world they wanted to go. So this can be really really scary. I know my heart was pumping as I was playing this just for you because I'm like, well, there's so many great compositions out there, and I'm just kind of sort of creating one spontaneously. Whether or not this was good, I have no idea. It was probably kind of mediocre. But the point is, I was having fun with it. And I was enjoying what I was playing here. So that was just a simple idea that I was taking between octaves, between strings, between intervals. So it doesn't have to be a stuck interval, but there's sort of the same melodic content stands. And you also heard it in sort of switch around and roll, so that the bass line was taking care of that melody. So you're kind of giving some extra motivic development there. Sort of just kind of let your fingers take that away. If you feel really really uncomfortable with doing something like this in a gig situation, because it is terrifying, but equally as rewarding. So the amount of time that I do this, I always use this for my warm ups. I usually don't like to practice like, even though I probably should do dedicated individual finger practice. I mean, I do, but I kind of just let my warm up be more of a mental warm up more than anything else. So what this is going to do is you sort of want to create your own story arc, where you're narrating the music that you're playing, you're improvising. In turn, this is going to make you a better musician when you're reading other composers' music, because you'll kind of sort of understand what they were going through in the composition that they wrote. So I think this is one of the most awesome things. I love to hear really really fresh stuff like this all the time. And it's coming out on the spot. Chopin, Bach, Liszt, Mozart, their best works were you improvised, not so much written down. But like I said, if you feel like this is too terrifying, you can take a melody that's been written already and just harmonize it in your own sense, like I was doing with "Fly Me to the Moon." So we have. Oh, sorry. And this goes in the same term with using the first part of the workshop, is using the phase GBD to kind of guide your way into it, and the melody is going to have one of those chord tones, so you would just have to fill in the rest of them. That's kind of the hard part about guitar, and making sure that you have everything dialed in, right? Say, for instance, if I'm doing the first note of "Fly Me to the Moon," which is a C, and my chord is A minor 7, I'm going to fill in the rest of those chord tones with E and G, as well as A. So that completes my 7th chord there. I don't need to do anything else. And then here, where I switch to my next chord, I'm going to go to a D minor 7, but I can voice this in whatever way I like to. So I can do something like this. Let me do something a little bit more D minoristic. There you go. That's a bit better. So I now have the chord tones of D minor 7 on my side here. And then G7 to C major 7, and I would fill in all those chord tones there. You can use some familiar chord shapes to help guide you with some of these things, but for the most part, this is what you can do. Pianists do this kind of thing a lot. I know in my piano class studies, they would ask the students to harmonize a melody that's been written, and it's a very common thing for pianists to do. And I don't see guitarists doing this that much, at least from what I see. Maybe it might be a bit more common than what I think. But the point still stands here, is that my main goal is to teach anyway, is think like a pianist and play like a guitarist. So you have all the notes there at your fingertips in the guitar sets. So I'm not sure how I'm doing on time, Abraham. Or is that about time for me?
No, you got it, man. You can go as far as you want.
Good. Okay. I'm about, I think, 20 minutes in, maybe a bit more. But I'm going to lightly talk about some left hand exercises. And Abraham, if you want, you can zoom in on the lens
Yes.
right here a little bit. So I was in a master class with Sergio Assad, and give you some merit to the left hand exercises. So you've probably seen this kind of thing a lot. This sort of exercise is kind of finger training across strings. So you start with all four fingers barely touching the G string in any position you want, but preferably in the higher position because those frets are a bit closer and it's easier to manage. So this is a combination of both Sergio Assad's workout as well as my old lessons teacher, Michael Mori, or Dr. Mori, left-hand workout. So your objective is to lift any two fingers and move them across the strings. Pretty focused practice there. So the goal here is to try to keep anything else except your fingers from moving, right? So you're not wanting to adjust your wrist or arm position, even though the main goal for playing in these different areas is to position your arm in a comfortable manner. But this is solely based on a finger exercise, okay? So that is the Dr. Mori's school of understanding of this. Sergio Assad's is a little bit more complicated. So this is one of those things where you dial in super extra focus in how your fingers are releasing and adding tension. So I know my left hand used to be, it probably still sometimes is, really hard on the neck. I tend to squeeze, right? Assad's method is more of pulling the finger back rather than squeezing. This is probably a common guitar thing for a lot of you, and it's no surprise. But to me, it was a revelation. Anyway, so the precision lies in lifting the two fingers that you pick. So let's say I did my middle and my ring finger. You're going to want to lift those two at the exact same height, at the exact same rate, at the exact same speed, and then move them across each other at exactly the same speed, the same interval. And you're lifting off those strings at exactly the same speed and the same interval. Now, my hand doesn't look very controlled because I haven't done this exercise in a while, but your goal is to lift both fingers off of the strings at the exact same time, and then push them down, and then make them cross each other at an even rate. Right, really focused practice, you can really get these fingers going very smoothly and very precisely. So that's Assad's little workout there. And you can do this with any finger combination. This is the hardest part, is not so much moving the fingers themselves, it's making sure that they're calibrated exactly. And this helps with extreme left-hand precision here. I'm just going to talk for a second about what I call awkward tremolo. So when you're working on a tremolo piece, and any kind of other piece, that's good. Yeah. Thanks, Abraham. Yeah, any kind of tremolo piece, usually the pattern is doing P, A, M, I, right? Which is fine and all. But that's going to train only one continuous motion on your hands there. So you can modify this by doing the tremolo across other strings. So let's say if I'm doing P, A, M, I still, and I do two of them on, let's say if I did the A string P, and then the B string A, M, and then I'm going to do I on the G string. Or if I do P on the A on the B string, and then M and I on the G string. Right? So that's an awkward tremolo, because the tremolo usually takes place on across one string as far as the the AMI pattern goes. The second way you can do it is something that my university professor Robert Guthrie showed me, where you can switch the order of the tremolo. Let's say instead of doing PAMI, you did PIMA. And just keep mixing them up that way. PIAM or so PMIA, just kind of mix it up that way. So that's what I mean by awkward tremolo. And you can even introduce that to some scales here that now Abraham is going to present to us. So we'll go ahead and transition to him because I feel like I've kind of overstayed my welcome here. So
no, not at all.
yeah, thanks for listening in, guys. So yeah, just have fun with that improvisation and use that face GBD to your advantage. Beware, it can be pretty useful. So I'll see you guys later.
We forgot to ask questions.
We'll do it after.
We'll do it after. Okay. Hello, everyone. Is it that interesting? The face GPT. I never heard it. I took a bunch of music theory classes, and I never heard about face GPT. And last night, Ivan came here to all of your house, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about jazz improvisation and face GPT." And I was like, "What is face GPT?" He was like, "It's just the easiest way for you to determine a chord up to the 11." And I was like, "That doesn't make any sense."
13.
Oh, 13. And I was like, "That doesn't make any sense." And he was like, he explains it and mind blown. But that's very good. All right. So what I want to talk to you is how I practice scales. I do still practice scales. I love playing scales, but I love playing them in an improvisatory way. So remember that the guitar is all about mind games. You have to get out of your bubble and say, "Hey, what if I try this?" Then you're a genius. "Hey, what if I tried a little bit different?" Then you're a genius, and you'll be the creator of so many exercises. But at the end of the day, it's all the same. So the idea that I want to give you today is a phone number, right? So we're gonna start building our skill on the sixth string. I know the majority of the public today already plays guitar in a high level, but this is gonna be recorded. So I want people, if they don't know how to use the system, that they can build it, right? So we have 4 fingers and we have a bunch of frets. It depends on where we start, how we name the key. And the finger that is gonna name the key is going to be your middle finger. So just for practical purposes, I'm going to place my finger on the 5th fret. I have 2 massive dots here that I put today for you to see. Okay, so on the 5th fret, we're gonna put our finger number 2, and the number that you're gonna learn for the 6th string is just 2 and 4, meaning that you're gonna play with your finger 2 and your finger 4, 2, 4. Okay. And on this hand, for right now, I'm just playing with my index and my middle. 1 and 1. So on the next string, now we're gonna dial 1, 2, 4. So we have 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. Okay, very simple. All this is called the just one position scale, starting on the 6th string. Shout out to Charles Aldred, because he gave me the page with all these scales when I was a junior at SMU. So he was like, "Man, just learn these scales," and I love them since then. So thank you, Chuck. So here we go. It's 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, and on the 4th string we're gonna have a 1, 3, 4. So we have 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4. Okay. We're halfway through. Keep at it. So we have 2 4, 1 2 4, 1 3 4, 1 3 4 on the third string. So 2 4 1 2 4 1 3 4. Okay. Now we're gonna add one more string. We have 2 4 1 2 4 1 3 4 2 4 on the second string. Okay, just a simple scale. And then we're just gonna add the first string. So you have 2 4 1 2 4 1 3 4 2 4 1 2. So you know that the sixth string and the first string are twin strings. So both of them are E's and they share the same notes, F, G, A. So because we finish on this dot on the fifth fret, that's how we know, oh, we named the key with finger number 2. Right now we're just gonna work with this major scale starting on the sixth string. But if you guys enjoy these workshops, we can continue to build upon that strategy. Okay, so regularly musicians will be like, okay, I gotta practice with my metronome. Okay, and I want to share with you that there is a tool on Google. I don't know if you knew this. You can just go to Google. Ivan, can you help us navigate the computer? And I think it's already open. You just go to Google and you type metronome, and Google has a metronome already available for you. I share it with my students all the time because they say, I don't have a metronome, I don't know how to use it. And I say, you are lying to me, because there is one free one, very good to use on Google. Okay, so we will set it up at 100 beats per minute. Hopefully I can hear it without this being on my ear. Is it sounding for everybody? Sure. Yes. Okay. So you go to the bottom. Oh, there you go. Here we go. So what we're gonna do, just on metronome practice, you're gonna play index and middle 4 times each string, 4 times each note. Sorry. Okay, that's how we will regularly practice our guitarist skills. I think will you help me with the metronome? Turn it off. Yeah, thank you. So, but there's a way that I find more interesting, where is you can practice your scales, still following a tempo, but it just gets you to that zone in music a little bit quicker because it's just more fun to play. But before I show you the way, before I give you the secrets, I can tell you that you can use different fingerings. So for your scale, you can practice index and middle, right? Everybody that I know has a very good index and middle technique. But if you start practice with your index and your ring, you're gonna start developing a very good scale technique. I think you guys can hear a little bit of scratchiness on my scale practice. That is not acceptable. So I was prepared for this moment. And as my good teacher, Chris McGuire, showed me, you have here some polishing paper. You fold it in half and you just, with all of your permission, I'm just gonna file my nail. Otherwise, I'm gonna drive some guitarists crazy. Okay, so I'm just gonna give it some love to my A nail, now the middle, and now to the index. If you guys have any questions, you can just put it on the chat. The file that I use, in case you're interested, I'm not sponsored by them, but here we go. Is the Fandeli. It's a 150 for water file. I just find it very good. It's not as thin, and it's actually for wood. So and my nails, they don't cut the strings with this one because they are not super thin. Sometimes some files, some guitars polish your strings super well that they become what like knives. So they cut the strings and the strings start to cut. So I try not to go to the extreme. All right, that should be good. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hopefully not too much. All right, so now how do we practice our scales with, and how do we get to that zone a little bit quicker? We're gonna start putting a backing track. So remember, the second finger names the key. On the first fret, we're gonna have F, we're gonna have G, we're gonna have A, we're gonna have B, we're gonna have C, D, and E. So because we were working on the fifth fret, we're just gonna stay there and we're gonna play some, I think it's rock music for a little bit. Excellent. So there are a bunch of backing track. Uh, they actually give you a beat, so that won't be you don't have to that you can play over, right? So here we go. Yeah, can you give it a play? So how I will practice this. They say to play the pentatonic, but this will work with the A major scale as well. We will talk about pentatonics in the future. Okay, next we're gonna have a rock and roll. Is that right?
Slow blues guitar.
Slow blues. Let's go to the next tab because I wasn't sure if country. Yeah, let's have some country bluegrass. Everybody, let's see if everybody's ready. Uh-huh. Let's see. And this is in the key of B, B major. Okay. So for B, for A, we're on the fifth fret. So on the sixth fret will be A sharp. Now for B, we're gonna be on the seventh fret, starting on the seventh fret of the sixth string. And it's exactly the same number that we learned. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, want to. We'll send you some workshop notes so you can take on. All right, so can we start over there? And this is in the key of B. Same thing, so any genre will work. You just put, okay, I'm feeling like some folk music today in the key of A major or B major, and it will come out. Okay, here we go. So the idea is that you are now using music as your metronome instead of using a metronome as your metronome to keep tempo. That I believe that this creates a stronger connection with your practice, with your scale practice, and you can use it as a tool, not as a supplement for the metronome. You practice with your metronome, you practice with the backing tracks, and it's just a little bit more fun. Um, Remember to change your finger patterns. You, for example, will be using P, I, M. So we can use the same fingering, but now I'm going to be using only P and I, right? So can you give it a little zoom over here? I'll bring it up for everybody to see. My long nail. Look at this nail. I'm so proud of my thumbnail. It's so big. All right. So we're gonna have thumb and index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb. Oh, one more time. Thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb. Ah, okay, just thumb and index. Now I'm gonna practice my middle and ring. Right, we don't want to forget those bad boys. Okay, index and middle. And then you can practice, for example, thumb and middle. And then you can practice thumb and ring. And then, most importantly, you can practice three finger. You can practice thumb, middle, index. So you can do, for example, oh, right here, thumb, middle, index. So you're that is a very useful finger pattern. Thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle. All right. Any questions, anybody in the audience? If not, we're just gonna give you a backing track for you to try it. I will mute myself. I really hope that you are playing with your guitar or that you have your guitar in your lap and um, that you're having some fun. That's the whole idea, right? So I think we have a third one around there. I wanted to try the Spanish flamenco one. Can you try to find one? I don't think I pulled it up.
Yeah, I can put the one that I use.
Yeah. So this is Ivan's recommendation. This is the one that Ivan improvises. Make sure we're not going over time. think we're right on.
I think so.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So this one is in the key of
G.
G, G major. I'll play just a few beats. It is one E minor. Just as a general concept, this key is in E minor, but E minor and G share the same notes. Um, E natural minor. So the key of G will work just fine. Just land on E. So we use the same key, but land on a E, and everybody will call you genius. All right. So here we go. Can we play it? This is a good one. Let us just hear the improvisatory backing track, and I really hope that you have your guitar in hand so you can play it at least for a minute or 2 minutes. We'll just leave it for you. Remember, G major is question section.
All right, so we are now opening the panels to any questions that you guys might have. You may have heard me jam out a little bit.
So if anybody has any questions, you can write it in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. But if not, if anybody is clear, we will send you some of the workshop notes, right? They don't need to hear me.
They could probably hear you.
Oh, they can probably hear me. Okay, awesome. Why don't I don't go and stand right there with you? We will give them the goodbyes together. So good. Yeah, everybody can see me. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had such a great time. We're gonna be posting the Keller concert on the website, as well as Eliza is going to be performing with us on June. So we're going to put her date and her information and everything on the website. We're going to have Tarek Harib coming in 2 weeks. He is a guitarist with more than 60,000 followers. So we're going to have a bunch of audience in there. We're also inviting Rosie Bennett, who is an incredible guitarist. She has a podcast, student of Mr. Rene Izquierdo, and she's giving us some support coming on the show. She also has a large audience. Next Monday, Mr. Jan River, a local guitarist, is going to talk about how to set up the right gig repertoire. So if you're thinking on, okay, I really want to learn how to play in bars, how to play in restaurants, bring down the house, and have a bunch of tips. Well, to next Monday is going to be a good talk. We would really appreciate if everybody that attends our meetings can invite one or two or three or five people, because that really helps us, even if they are not part of the guitar community. If they're like, hey, check out these guys, they have a lot of fun, they are doing a lot of stuff for the community, that will be great, and we will certainly appreciate it. Ivan, any other comments you want to share with the community?
I have nothing in mind, but be sure to go ahead and place your string orders if you need any strings in the local area of Texas, or actually even all throughout the United States. I think we're doing shipping.
Yeah, we're doing shipping. If you're a member, we're going to be doing free shipping for you. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, you enjoy some guitar talks. And as you know, we'll see you next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Thank you for joining us.